Denmark won, England won. This was a really good game from the Danish point of view, and could have probably won it too. England started well. I would say they don't seem to have the staying power in this tournament. I think they wear off, and I think the one thing that probably what was not good for them today was one, they scored the first goal, which England have this most in most recent times this ability to score a game during a time where they're in their ascendancy and playing well, find a way to go back into their shell. However, unlike a lot of the media outcry and looking at this game from this one-dimensional side that is very England-centered, I want to give praise to Denmark because they played the big boy football today in terms of they're supposed to be the smaller of the two countries, reputation-wise, size, maybe even, and also just like position to position, they have, I would say, if you were to make a composite 11 from the two countries, you would have to really reach in any one position to put in a Danish player. But as we all know, football is not played, by stars and whatnot. Football is played by having a good team ethic and culture. I think England have a brotherly situation. I don't think there's like a lot of egos in this England team. However, I do think they have a challenge with their current coaching setup. I think Gareth Southgate has done a lot of good for England. I think he did a lot of good in rehabilitating England's image in the world stage, and he did a good job in integrating some of these younger players that have grown. However, I think this England team has outgrown its coach, and the coaching matchup between him and the Danish guy, I think his name is Humland or Hulmund. That's his name. Kasper Hulmand. Yep, he is a really really good coach. I don't know what kind of work he's done at a club level, but Denmark play like a club team. They play like a bunch of guys who enjoy sharing the ball. You don't see anyone trying to do any hero ball. They run hard as a team, but my goodness, they are really really pretty they're easy on the eye. They play some really good passing. They play through the lines, and no stars in this game, like in this Denmark game. I mean, today, man of the match, and I think rightfully was Højbjerg. Højbjerg had the most shots, the most also tackle, like ball recoveries, and he also had he was the standout player. Total shots 5, accurate passes 74, most for the game, and tackles 1, 5, most for the game. So he was the man of the match, and he had a lot of really good speculative shots from distance. And Denmark's goal was probably one of the goals of the season. I mean, of the tournament, right alongside Shaqiri's goal from the Switzerland game in this round of games. I really, really am enjoying this tournament, and I think it's been so good to see the so-called little guys stand up to teams. Like I saw Hungary yesterday. I know this is my game about Denmark and England, but the way Hungary stood up to Germany yesterday, that was a beautiful thing to see, because a lot of these guys now are very smart. They do a lot of scouting on their opponents and try to ask them questions. Having quality on the ball is not just enough. And it became very, very clear in this game. England were lucky to not lose this one. I think Denmark had the better footballing experience out of this, and you could see at the end their fans were not just celebrating a win against England. I think they were also celebrating having been the dominant, better side in a game against one of the so-called favorites for this tournament. Now England could, finish still in top of the group, and Denmark could end up not doing the business against Serbia, right? So I don't know how this group is going to end up, but England have now themselves, a very favorable game against Slovenia, and they should be, yeah, they should be fine. They might. I'd be shocked if England don't win this group, but I think Serbia, Denmark is too hard to call. Those two teams are very equally capable of like beating one another, I would say. Even though I think Serbia have the better strikers, I think Denmark again play really well as a team. They're such a beautiful group of players to watch play together. I don't think many of these players get into a lot of other countries, but that's not what this is about. It's about how do you work well? Is there a good balance between the team that you have? And Denmark have all of that. Hopefully they can get something and get a little bit of change out of Hoyland. Maybe get a goal or two. I don't know, where the goals are going to come from. I think that might be one of the things maybe Denmark need to figure out is where the goals going to come from. Today they scored a beautiful goal from midfield, and hopefully there's more to come. But anyway, yeah, 1-1. There's going to be a lot of England facing analysis or reaction to this game. For me, yes, England were putrid. England were poor, but I don't think we should overinvest. I think they have problems of their own. They don't have a left back. That team is not balanced. A lot of focus is going to go towards Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I think should either be. I think maybe they should play a back three if they want to have Trent as a wing back or something like that, and tuck in Kyle Walker with Gehi and this guy, what's his name, and Ben and sorry Stones. So England have a lot to figure out about what they want to do in this tournament, or they keep everything as is, but they have to drop one of the sexy players, and to play a player that's going to give them balance in midfield, whether that's Mainu or Wharton. I know they've got zero experience, but like just chucking in a bunch of these superstar players who have a lot of experience to a degree compared to these two names I just said doesn't really help. I think Declan Rice is not yet a guy that can manage the tempo of the game, and so he needs someone else playing next to him who can kind of like dictate spray passes a little bit. Declan is better than both these other kids, but I think they would complement his game a bit better than maybe having Trent stand next to him. You can still find a way to keep Trent in the team, but I don't think standing him right in the middle and in front of the ball with him facing his own goal, I don't think that's the way to use Trent. I think if you're going to have him standing in the middle, maybe you have him drop in between the two center backs, and you make him one of the ball playing defenders when you have the ball, and then you can tuck in Foden into midfield to kind of close the gap that's vacated by Trent. Maybe you have Foden standing next to Jude, or you can reconfigure the whole thing and have Declan by himself at the 6, Jude on the left, Foden on the right in a 4-3-3, and then that means you dropping Trent in that case maybe, and then you're opening up a space up front for an Anthony Gordon or someone else, or Cole Palmer. There's a lot of answers to be discovered by both teams. I think Denmark needs goals, and I think England needs to figure out their balance. Names that are famous and beautiful individually on the team sheet don't necessarily do the same for you. And Denmark is a good example of that because they don't have stars, but they're playing really good team football. All right, guys. Cheers.